Okay, the game gets underway. The handshake to which wish each other good luck. Alexandra here with the white pieces. And she is expected to go with her queen pawn in this game. I was discussing the opening with Alexandra up until like 15 minutes ago. So she was really interested in being as well prepared as possible. Double checking all of the potential lines her opponent could choose. So d4 from Alexandra. Miley with the black pieces plays d5. This is her normal opening. Alexandra going for the queen's gambit, which is in the style of Beth Harmon. Here, Miley moving her pawn forward. This is a queen's gambit declined. Alexandra moves her knight out, and Miley plays a slightly unusual move. This is known as the semi-Slav opening, pawn to c6. But luckily, we are prepared for this eventuality, and Alexandra plays her tricky move. Knight to d2, a very unusual move, but I think it's going to work very well against the top seed Miley. She goes with the pawn to f5, very aggressive. Oh my gosh, is Cutie in chat? I guess Cutie is sleeping, but Alexandra's opponent has played the stone wall formation. Cutie's favorite chess opening being used against Alexandra. The idea here is that these pawns are kind of blocking in the white bishop. So this bishop is now supposed to be pretty bad on account of the pawns blocking its path. The major drawback of this strategy for black is the square on e5. This square, you're now unable to protect that square with your pawns. And Alexandra is going to want to use that square in the future. First here, Alexandra goes e3. The reason for this is because very often people go for the stonewall formation when white goes g3. Because they argue that when this bishop is pointing in towards the middle, it's being completely shut out of play by black's pawn formation. So instead, Alexandra goes e3 with the idea to get her bishop just out here on e2, and then she will do the fianchetto with the other bishop later on. The knight comes out, Alexandra playing the bishop one step forward. Alexandra is playing pretty quickly here and pretty confidently. This is still in preparation. Bishop out to d6 from Miley. And now either b3 or castles from Alexandra will be good moves. Alexandra goes with b3 so that she can get her bishop here to influence in towards the central square. Okay, I'm ready to pay attention to you, chat. It was a bit of a rush there because I was unsure whether or not I would get the camera feed in time. But now you have my attention. Have you said anything worthwhile? Anything so worthwhile, it's worth repeating? I guess that's my question. They're kind of blitzing. Yes, Papa Botez. Alexandra has hit her preparation, despite Miley playing something she normally doesn't play. Castles from black, and then Alexandra will do her fianchetto. Would it be nice if the clock was opposite the camera? I agree, but, you know, I don't really decide where they're putting the camera. Andrea can't wake up at 7 for Alexandra. Waking up at 7 when you don't have a normal job is a very, very difficult task. I know I've had a non-standard job for 10 years. I never get up at 7. Sometimes I go to sleep at 7, but that's a different story. Okay, did she play bishop b2? No, she castled. Okay, but so far so good. She has a very sensible setup. She has this idea of getting her knight up to e5, but before she executes that idea, she's going to get her bishop out, maybe her rook in towards the middle. When Andrea gets a normal job, that will have to change. I mean, that's very strange. You think Andrea will ever have a normal job? That seems like a very poor odds you would get for making such a prediction. Okay, knight e4 has been played. I'm pretty sure this is the line in the analysis we did. So the good thing here is that Alexandra has hit her preparation. What I mean by that is that Miley has played something we predicted ahead of time. The problem is Miley did like her third choice or fourth choice. So Miley played something she definitely never usually does. So the question is, how thoroughly did Alexandra study the opening files before the game? But so far she's been playing all the right moves. And also here, bishop to b2. Just developing the pieces. We're not being panicked about black attacking here. We're not panicking at all. We're just putting our pieces into better squares. Next up, rook into c1. Miley would have prepped for Alexandra too, yes, but she wouldn't be able to expect this play from Alexandra. But she's playing pretty quickly. I guess she feels comfortable in this opening. Miley playing here knight to d7. And now the recommended move is rook c1, I'm pretty sure. Rook c1, I think, is the move we studied. Also acceptable, knight to e5. So these are the two moves. What is White's plan? Well, White's plan is to go rook c1 and knight e5. Basically, White is arguing that the control of the e5 square and the potential of getting a knight there is pretty good. In addition, Black's bishop is kind of being blocked by every single piece she has on the board. So yeah, that's a bit of a problem for Black. Alexandra goes knight e5. I think I would have preferred rook c1. And the reason I would have preferred that is because after rook c1, if Black makes the mistake of going knight f6, then you go knight e5. And it's even better because Black has less control with their pieces to this square. Her opponent isn't a kid, almost the same age. Her opponent is like Andrea's age. So there's quite a significant age gap. But yeah, her opponent is like 20 years old. So I'm not sure that qualifies for as a kid. Not like 12 years old. Yeah, this is true. Her opponent is definitely older than the other ones she's been facing so far. The disadvantage is that this opponent has used those years of experience very well and is actually a grandmaster, a woman's grandmaster. And so far, Miley here playing with the black pieces has won every single game. Miley is on 6 out of 6 points. Is there a difference between WGM and GM? Yes. There's a 200 point difference. But WGM, Women's Grandmaster, it's still revered. Can you tell us a little about the position? I've been trying. I'm really trying here. I swear I've been trying to tell you about the position. Alexandra is still in her preparation, I think. This square is very important because it's a square where black's pawns cannot control. So that means black cannot chase this knight away. And black has trouble with this bishop. This is black's main issue. The bishop is difficult to get into play. What score does Alexandra have so far? Alexandra has 3.5 out of 6. A little bit of a disappointment, I'm not gonna lie. But she played extremely well in the last game. So we're kind of hoping that her trend in the tournament, like she started pretty badly. Let me see if I can hear. She started pretty badly and now it's going. No, that's the wrong direction. It's going up. It's going maybe not that much, but there's some improvements. Hammer dabbing. Honestly, my dabs look less like a dab than that. This tournament is taking place in Canada, Laura, in Kingston. Kingston, Canada. A place poorly accessible from Los Angeles. But Alexandra made it. A tough journey, a long journey, but she made it. And she's playing over the board chess for the first time in 3 years. Toronto is close by? I don't know. My sources say you have to get a 3-hour train from Toronto. And I mean, I know I'm not from Canada. I understand that Canadians might feel that 3 hours by train is nothing, considering the vastness of the country. But for normal people, that's quite a bit. Canadians, it's like 300 kilometers. It's nothing. Kingston has regular air service. Well, my sources, once again, the Botez executive assistants, Vila, who might get fired because he's not online now and didn't help me get the video running. But I managed to do it all on my own. But Vila says that the Kingston airport has 5 flights per week. I don't know anyone who would qualify that as regular air service. Is over the board harder to play for people who mostly play online? Definitely can be. Especially because when you play in real life, you often have so much more time than when you play online. So Alexandra is the queen of 1-minute chess. But here, she has 1 hour. Even more than 1 hour. She has an hour and a half. 2 very different things. Alexandra has had 2 wins so far, Alien. Blue Cardigan coming in with the prime. Thank you. And good morning to you too. Miley plays queen to a5. Good move, as far as I can tell. Ooh, bad move, maybe. Good move, bad move. I'm not sure. The threat is against the knight. And the idea is that if the knight moves forward, which is the move Alexandra would like to do, the knight c3 attacks the queen and attacks the bishop. This would secure black the bishop pair. Pringolier, thank you for the prime. So Alexandra might lose the bishop pair here. But even so, the computer says this is very good for white, despite losing the bishop pair. So takes. And the computer says this is good for white, but I don't believe it. I'm going to overrule the computer on this occasion. This seems okay for black. Alexandra has queen d2. Oh, you guys, you think you're so clever. The queen pointing in against the black queen. So if the knight moves to capture the white bishop, you're going to take the queen. However, boom, boom, boom. I'm really trying to take the queen here, people. I'm trying my bestest. But the thing won't let me. It keeps highlighting this king. It's a check. So you can't win the knight in that way. This is why over the board is harder, says Inept. That's honestly a real thing. Honestly a real thing. People who only play online, they struggle with the fact that they sometimes make illegal moves because they're not used to the system allowing them to make an illegal move. They've literally never made an illegal move in their lives. People who play online has never made an illegal move. Okay, Alexandra, she does play the knight to f3. I don't like that she didn't really think about this decision because it was also an interesting possibility to capture the knight. I don't know. I preferred this. And then, yeah, but it's difficult to now know how to reinforce this knight. I was thinking maybe f4. Something like this I would have preferred for white. I think this looks pretty good. But instead, Alexandra plays knight f3, which was the computer's choice. Lest we forget. This was the computer choice. But now she's going to lose her bishops. Knight to c3. Wins the bishop pair. Computer says good for white. Hammer says okay for black. We're about to find out who's right. Can Alexandra still qualify if she loses this game? At this point, Alexandra cannot qualify by normal means. The only way Alexandra can qualify at this stage is if she kind of impresses people with the level of her play. So right now, she needs to, like, if she can beat the person who won 6 out of 6 games so far, people will be like, oh yeah, Alexandra, she wasn't playing well at the beginning, but that's not so strange because she hadn't played a tournament in 3 years. But once she got going, wow, she even beat Miley, who was the #1 seed of the tournament and who was crushing everyone. So I think at this stage, the main thing for Alexandra is just to play good chess. And maybe she can impress the people making the selection for Team Canada. Okay, I have now understood what copium means, and I am not okay with you guys spamming it in chat. Monty coming in with the prime. Thank you. Do chess people not look each other in the eye? No. Never. I mean, never during a game. Well, very, very, very rarely during a game. And I would say, even in casual conversations, holding eye contact, not really my strongest conversationalist move. Chess attracts a certain type of person who doesn't excel at things such as eye contact. Alexandra is a bit of an exception to some degree. That's a Norwegian thing, though. It's worse. It's made worse by the fact that I'm Norwegian. It's also made worse by the fact that I'm a boy, I feel. Because girls are kind of better at social cues in general. And also chess boys are like the worst at social cues in the history of the world. Staring at your opponent, is that a legit strat? I mean, if it's your only strategy, I don't think you're going to win a lot of games. But as an add-on to some chess skills, maybe. Is Alexandra aiming for any other titles in the future? I don't really know, can't be. But she did tell me, I'm not sure what I'm allowed to say. She did tell me she wanted to get the National Master title. Which I don't get, because National Master, that's like a title America invented that no one cares about outside of America. But she wants it, you know. What are you going to do? She can build up from there. Yeah, of course she can. No, I mean, Alexandra, I mean, if she put her heart and soul into becoming better, I'm sure she could get some titles. The problem is just, you know, she's got a lot going on. But the support you guys are showing for when she's doing a real life tournament, and the fact that viewership numbers are good, that's very encouraging, and I think that's gonna make her want to play chess more, because then she feels like, oh yeah, I can play chess and still kind of be at work, and still maintain the stream. Arctic coming in with the 4 months. Thank you. Alexandra is 23 years old, Bren. Kid Flash coming in with the prime. Thank you. The hype train is coming in. Only 23? Yes, Air Bomb. Let's just say every birthday since her 23rd birthday, she hasn't aged a single year. It's incredible. Researchers wonder how it's possible. For her 24th birthday, she still had 23 on her birthday cake. And for her 25th birthday. And for her 26th Who knows what number she's gonna have on her cake this year? So big surprise. Uh, Riley and Dizzle coming in with the Prime and 4 months respectively. And Cosmic Cookie with the 5 gifted. Thank you. And Anonymous gifting 6 months of Tier 1 to Rubber Ducky. Thank you, Anonymous. This 23 forever strategy doesn't seem sustainable. I mean, what do I know? I wish I had the same skill, you know? The way you talk is so dramatic. I'm all for it. Yeah. People say I enunciate a lot and I talk very slowly, but it's because English is not my native language, so I take extra time kind of formulating my sentences and making sure I'm pronouncing it correctly. I do speak somewhat quicker in my own language. Probably had a good English teacher. Yeah, I did. But also, I lived in Berkeley, California for a year when I was a kid. And that was really, really helpful. East Bay representing. Let's go. Extra strong men celebrating a year of subs. Victory, here we come, they say. Yeah, honestly, it's been a good start, no? Okay, we got to move. Miley made a move. And Miley did not play. Wow, big mistake from Miley. Big mistake from Miley. People, Alexandra is crushing it right now. Miley did not play her knight to c3. She should have done this move so that she secures herself capturing one of the bishops. Instead, she's played knight to f6, which is a mistake because it lessens black's control of the e5 square. Look at the eval bar. Eval bar now 1.6 in white's favor. That was a bad move for 2 reasons. Number 1, no more pressure on the knight is bad. Number 2, did not take the opportunity to attack both the queen and bishop at the same time. So number 1, she should have done a better move. And number 2, she did a bad move. I'm not sure if that makes sense, but you get what I'm saying. Like, this would have been bad even if she kind of made the mistake of not playing knight c3. Will she notice it was a bad move? Of course she will. Because what do you do in the opening? First, you get your pawns in the middle of the board. Alexandra has done that. Then you get your pieces out. Alexandra has done that. She developed her knight, her bishop, her other knight, and she castled. Like, she got all her pieces ready. What is the next step? After you control the center with your pawns, after you develop your pieces, after you castle, what is the next step in good chess strategy? Connect the rooks. Well done. Everyone saying connect the rooks. You are absolutely correct. You have been taught well. So the next move, connect the rooks. How do you do that? You move the queen up. And moving the queen up both connects the rooks and it takes control over that c3 square. we were concerned black was going to use for her knight. So queen c2 is almost guaranteed to be played. And after that, white just has a very nice position. Yeah, I'm not good enough for technical stuff to do the timers, Dreddy. Pawn c5 is bad. C5 is also good. So c5 is kind of white's long-term plan. But there's no rush. You can do it later as well. Like, it's not like black can prevent this plan. So basically, queen c2 makes more sense because then you're just keeping in line with the rules of thumb of chess. And once you've connected the rooks, then you can start thinking about expanding the pawns. And that's how black is going to win, white is going to win this game. Like, she will go c5, and she will go b4, and she will go a4. This is the general plan now. Just be very aggressive with the pawns on the left side of the board. Okay, Alexandra plays queen d3. It's not as good as queen c2, but it's okay. The reason it's not as good is because now the queen is kind of blocking the bishop's influence up towards b5. But it's like a very minute difference. For instance, bishop d7, very likely to be played now. And you can still do this plan of pushing the pawn up. Just pushing up here. This will be the general strategy for Alexandra now. Just getting those pawns up the board. Alexandra won yesterday. Envy. And she played a really, really good game. So after I do the whole story about why I'm speaking slowly, because I struggle with pronunciation and so on, people in chat is actually correcting my pronunciation of minute. Chat expects perfection. Yeah. But they both expect me not to make pronunciation mistakes and speak faster. Oh, chat is so demanding. Okay, so this is the current position. Alexandra has just played queen d3. She connected the rooks. That's the main thing. That's the main thing. She's following logical chess play. And she holds a good advantage here. Computer evaluation. Look here on the left side. We have this thing that's partly black and partly white. Basically, this thing is there to inform us how the game is going. And when there's more white than black, it means that white has the superior position. And you know, the middle of the board is here. Like where the number is coming out right now, that's the middle of the board. So when the white and black meet at this intersection, it means it's equal. But because the white side has gone beyond this point, it means that we have plus 1.00. And that means Alexandra holds an advantage estimated at the significance of one pawn. Bigger is better, Jakey. I don't know if someone has told you otherwise, but I'm afraid they were just trying to console you in that case. Okay, so we got to move. Bishop d7 has been played. This is the normal plan for black in these positions. She realizes that all of these pawns are on the light squares. All of these pawns are blocking the potential of the bishop. So she's trying to reroute that bishop over to the other side of the board. But that's okay. She's allowed to do that. Now comes the critical moment. A very, very important moment in the game. This is when Alexandra needs to find the right plan. And this is often the most difficult thing in chess. Because you followed all of the general opening principles. You put your pawns in the middle. You got your pieces out. You castled your king. You connected your rooks. But then what? And this is the moment it's time to push your pawns forward. And it's important Alexandra makes that realization. Pawn to c5. That is the move we're looking for. And it's also the only acceptable move. If Alexandra does not play this plan of pushing the pawns forward on the left side, White's position is not at all better. So it's very important she identifies this plan and starts pushing her pawns. This is what we want to see from her. Getting those pawns up the board. So this is the moment where it's okay to think for a long time. When you're formulating your long-term plan, you're allowed to think for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Because you're figuring out what to do long-term. And very often, when you identify a plan, you kind of, even though you spend a lot of time on it, it also means that you're ready for the next 3-4 moves. Papa Botez asks, what about a3 first? a3 first is also good. The main point here is that she needs to play c5 at some point. It doesn't need to be now, but it needs to be part of the general idea. Why not take d3 and get rid of the bishop pair? Important question from Danny. So if you take this bishop, this bishop was actually not doing that much. The bishop was being blocked in behind its own pawns. So by making that trade, White loses a knight, which was very well placed in the middle, and eliminates a bishop that Black was so unhappy with this bishop, she's planning to play 3 moves just to exchange it off for the White knight. So why would I then make the exchange immediately when I can instead just improve upon my position and wait for the Black bishop to come and trade for the White knight instead? So if you capture the bishop now, you save Black like 3 moves. And you trade away your strongest piece, the knight on e5. This is the 7th round, Lucas. There's this round and then 2 more. Does Hammer always talk like this? Yes, scientist. He does. It's dramatic. Okay. So yeah, we're hoping for c5 or some plan involving pushing the pawns up. Okay. So since I'm expecting Alexandra to think for quite some time here, I'm going to take a bathroom break and I'll be back. Seems like Miley is nervous. I don't know. She seems pretty calm to me. Miley's MO in this tournament has been getting bad positions from the opening and then fighting back in style. So she's kind of used to, to getting into some trouble out of the opening. But I'm still very happy for Alexandra. She's played well up till this point. She's been well prepared. She remembered all of her lines, and she does hold the advantage. Now the question is if she can find the right plan moving forward. Are you out of banana cake? Yeah, I ate it all, unfortunately. What's wrong with the Dutch? I don't know. I don't have a problem with them. Maybe something is wrong with you if you think the Dutch is such a vile sort of people. They're too tall. Honestly, that's probably the right answer. Maybe the opening they meant? You think? I mean, I'm dumb, but I'm not that dumb. You're allowed to, like, misunderstanding people on purpose is often, like, the funniest things. Craig Ferguson is very good at that. Misunderstanding people on purpose to create funny situations. What is good old Craig doing now, anyways? I mean, I think old is the key phrase there. He probably retired. Do you think the camera adds pressure for the opponent? Yeah, I do think that. But on the other hand, if you end up beating Alexandra, imagine what a moment that is to treasure. And also, like, all of these kids playing against Alexandra, they get free game reviews. If they can be bothered rewatching 5 hours of VODs, they get top players analyzing their game. Might be fun to watch. When I was a top 100 grandmaster in the world, I played this tournament where Magnus was doing commentary. I watched every minute. Even though I was already a grandmaster, I wanted to know what Magnus thought about the decisions I had made and what was good and what was not. Huge flex? I mean, for me, that's not even a huge flex. That's a small flex. There will be more flexes coming. Alexandra goes c5. Well done, believers. Believers are doing great these couple of days. c5 on the board. Alexandra played great chess yesterday, and she's continuing in the same vein today. She identified the correct plan, pushing her pawns forward on the queen side. She's been playing very well. I know I'm saying it with some surprise in my in my voice, but yesterday, the game she played yesterday was so good. Like, so good. And now she's continuing that good play here. Like, Queen D3 was a bit weird, but other than that, she's been playing perfectly. Okay, the bishop was attacked. Miley retreats. Now Alexandra needs to push pawns. The question is, how is she going to do it? Will she play A3 and then B4? Or will she try to be clever? This is the clever move. Rook B1. The idea here is that when the bishop moves back, we go B4. We sacrifice the pawn. And when the pawn is captured, we open up for our rook. And if the pawn is not captured, then we continue pushing our pawns forward. And the difference here, compared to moving this pawn and then this pawn and then this pawn, is the placement of the rook. Compare this position with the rook here with this situation. The only difference between this and the other position we studied is the placement of the rook. And that's why rook b1 is very clever. Because then you get this move for free. And you want the rook here anyway. Because you want to have the rook help support the queenside expansion. But, I mean, a3 is good as well. Why not a4 right away? Because it doesn't help support this move. Like, if the bishop moves back, you go b4. Then you can just capture. The point of rook b1 is having the rook here so that you discourage the queen moving into this file. Papa Botez in chat says, if Alexandra sees rook f to b1, if she sees rook f to b1, she's playing at a 2400 level. Imagine if she plays this move. Then Papa Botez is the papa of a player playing at an international level. This is the Canada Championship. But if she plays this rook to b1, she's playing at a world international level. What's the point? We did the point already, but we'll repeat it. So, when Alexandra played the c5 move, her idea is to start attacking with the pawns on that side. People were scammed. No. Wow. 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 Okay, Gerber. This is the person to blame. Person to blame for people being scammed. And then we're going to add Gerber. I want everyone to know I had nothing to do with scamming you out of your points. Gerber baby 4. That is the culprit. I am innocent. I don't mind putting the entirety of chat raging against Gerber, as long as you're not raging against me. Don't gamble, someone says in chat. Well, yeah. Apparently you shouldn't on the Botez channel. You will get scammed. Okay, a3 has been played. So she didn't play this tricky rook move, but she played a sensible move. a3. The idea is that the pawn controls the b4 square. So now she's ready to push b4. And when she pushes b4, she's attacking the queen. The queen will have to go back. And then she pushes a4. This is the line we analyzed 20 minutes ago. Alexandra is playing the line we highlighted as being the best plan 30 minutes ago, maybe. She's playing very well right now. Okay, Miley continues her plan. Bishop e8. She's trying to move the bishop over here to make a trade. But it's very time consuming. And while black is doing that slow plan, white is expanding with her pawns. b4 now, guaranteed to be played. The next two moves are easy. It was the c5 move, that was the critical junction. Now her plan moving forward is obvious. Petrosian has a good comment in chat. Queen a5, this move, when she moved her queen out, it turns out it's dubious because she didn't follow it up. So the queen came here, was threatening in towards the white position, but she didn't really follow up that excursion from the queen. And now the queen is being pushed back. b4 on the board. b4 chasing the queen. The queen is going to go back. Is this the London? No. This is the Stonewall opening. A favorite of Cutie Cinderella. An opening I told Cutie I would get Alexandra to play it if she got me a spot in the Ludwig Fortnite tournament. But instead of Alexandra playing the Stonewall, which is signified by the formation of these pawns, it's actually her opponent doing it instead. And the queen goes back. Is Hammer using a different mic? Is it lower? I tried turning down my volume a little. Cutie Jelly is jealous of this attention we've been giving to another cutie. And she's gifting 10 subs to the community. Thank you, Cutie Jelly. The OG cutie of the Botez stream. Which is why I specifically said Cutie Cinderella. Cutie Jelly is the best cutie, says Perseus. Wouldn't have guessed white was ahead without the eval bar. So there are two reasons Alexandra is significantly better here. Number one, she has a knight in the middle of the board. And this knight cannot be chased by the black pawns. Because the black pawns have kind of gone too far up the board. The pawns are aligned with the knight, and pawns can only attack forward. So they've gone too far. The knight is unassailable. So that's the main reason Alexandra is better. Then the second reason is that she has these pawns on the queen side. And she's pushing them up. And she's creating an attack on that side of the board. a4. guaranteed to be the next move. And then when the bishop comes out here, b5. We're going very aggressive with these pawns. And notice how the knight in the middle is supporting this aggression. Also putting pressure in towards the black pawn. Alexandra is playing very well. Has Alexandra played Miley before? Yes, I would think so. I don't really know for sure, but they're not that far. It's not that big of an age gap. So I would think they probably played before. So did you get the spot in the Fortnite tournament from Ludwig? No, not yet. Okay, Alexandra plays a4. This tournament is a qualification for events for the Canadian women players, Seattle. So the winner of the tournament will get to be on the Canadian Olympiad team, which is like a world team competition. And the winner is also qualified for the World Cup, which is an individual tournament, which is part of deciding who becomes the new women's world champion. What to expect from Miley now? Oh, sorry. Are we good? I think we're good-ish. What to expect from Miley now? I was scrolling on chat and then I was moving my mouse. And that caused a problem. I would expect bishop to h5 or a6. One of these two moves. Probably a6. Because Alexandra, she's clearly showing what her plan is. She wants to continue forward with her pawns on the queen side. And Miley may feel that she needs to have some more pieces controlling this square to prevent the advance. The problem is, if she tries to prevent here, then Alexandra still moves her rook over. And here, the bishop that has had this long maneuvering plan, if it continues the maneuvering, then the bishop leaves the protection of the b5 square, which means that Alexandra can continue forward. A6 is trying to be kind of preventive of Alexandra's ideas, but kind of black's pieces are still a bit stuck. Why bishop h5? I don't see any reason. Bishop h5, the point is that this bishop was being blocked by its own pawns in the middle of the board. So the idea of bishop h5 is just that it's the only diagonal on the board this bishop can get to where it's not being blocked by its own pawns. The idea of knight e1 is to stop bishop h5, says Marshmallow. They're discussing with another chatter what to do next and whether or not Alexandra should have moved her knight back. So personally, I don't think the idea is to stop this move. I think the idea is that if this move happens, then you go with the pawn to block so that this bishop still doesn't get to exchange itself off for any of white's pieces. So it managed to find a diagonal where the black pawns were not blocking. But if Alexandra had moved her knight back, she would now have pawns blocking the bishop's intentions. So, I mean, knight e1 was probably an okay move, but I kind of like the general idea of just pushing forward on the queen side. Eval bar drops on a4. Yeah, but you don't need to care about like minor changes in the eval bar. The good thing is that she found a plan and she's executing it. And for the last 3 moves, 4 moves actually, all she's been doing is pushing the pawns up on the queen side. And that's a good plan. As long as she's following a plan, and as long as that plan is a good one, we're pretty happy. She won yesterday, Ethan, which is part of the reason why we're so optimistic about this game. Despite going up against a women's grandmaster, despite going up against a player who has won all of her 6 games so far in the tournament, we remain optimistic because Alexandra played so well yesterday. She played a magnificent game. And she's playing very well so far. So yesterday's play was probably not an accident. She genuinely raised her level after a tough start to the tournament. Cutie actually being a pessimist in chat. Can she maintain that level of play for the whole 10 hours today? Yeah, that's the big question. Yesterday she only had to play 1 game. Today she has 2 games. But she can probably play very well for the first game of the day. And then the question is if she has any energy left for the second one. But as long as she kind of keeps that energy going for the first game, that's what we're asking. It's more important to do well against the top player in the tournament than in the second game of the day. Okay, so Miley goes a6. We talked about this. The intention is to take control of the b5 square. And Alexandra very quickly moves her rook over to the other side. She wants to help support this advance. Now, the problem here is that black has now an option they didn't have earlier. Knight g4. Knight g4 is a very tricky move. And by the pace Alexandra played her move, I don't think she saw this possibility for black. So the point here, these 2 knights working together is attacking the pawn on f2. And why is the timing so important right now? Well, it's because this rook just moved away. The rook was offering protection to the f2 square. Now that the rook moved away, black can come and try to attack. If knight takes knight, pawn takes knight, you open up for the black rook. And the black pawn is attacking the white knight. The knight has to move, but then you lose your pawn. And the engine says black is winning. So knight g4 is a very tricky move. A dangerous move. For the first time in the game, Miley is in a position to make threats. What is the engine? Good question, Cycrits. So the engine is the computer calculating what the best chess move is. And here on the left side, we have an illustration of those calculations. Basically, the more this thing on the left side, the more white it is, the better white's position, according to the calculations. And right now, there's more white than black. It says white has an advantage similar to 0.76 pawns. It means that white is clearly better. But it also means one mistake and everything can be turned around. What is the engine? Stockfish 14? Yeah, I think so. Is 76% a win rate? No. It's difficult to explain, but basically in chess, instead of giving percentages, it gives an assessment based on pawns, on units. So right now you can see here on the lower, if you see down on the lower left side, it says 0.7. So it says white is up by 0.7 units. And this unit we're referring to, it's the value of a pawn. So if it says 1.0, we say that white has an advantage similar to being up by a pawn. How many units are the other pieces? Good question, Giovanni. So, the system for evaluating how good the pieces are is the pawn is the base unit. It's worth 1. The knight is considered to be worth 3 pawns. The bishop is also considered to be worth about 3 pawns. Which is very interesting. Because that means the knight and bishop are the only pieces that have different attributes but are worth approximately the same. And I saw this guy writing on Twitter the other day that when Demi Hesabis, I'm not sure I got his name correctly, but when the founder of DeepMind, which is an artificial computing company, when he was pitching his company to Peter Thiel, and he had just a minute or two to pitch it, he talked about the chess, because Peter Thiel and Demi, they're both chess enthusiasts. And he said something about artificial intelligence is interesting because of the difference. kind of between knight and bishop. I'm not sure I got it, but I think it's a very interesting point to make that the trade between the knight and the bishop is one of the most interesting things about chess, because they are worth about the same but have very different attributes. You can find the tweet. I'm sure you'll find it if you search for Peter Thiel and Demi something. Okay, so knight g4 is on the board. This is bad news. This is the kind of move that puts unpleasant pressure on Alexandra. She now needs to admit her mistake and move the rook back from where it came. That is very difficult to do in chess. Admitting your mistake and moving back. Very, very difficult. But she needs to do it. You have to swallow the pride, says Control Break. There's nothing else to be played, says Dio. Yeah, but yeah, you're still hesitant in doing it. Because you're very unhappy about your previous decision that allowed this option. What about knight takes knight followed by knight e5? That's an important question, Bird. We analyzed it earlier, but we're going to do it again. If we make a trade, the pawn comes in, attacks the knight, and it also opens up for the black rook. So when the knight moves, this pawn is under attack from two pieces. And the knight can come in and capture, attack the queen, and win a pawn. Why is h3 bad? Someone in chat is asking. If h3, you're ignoring the threat in the position. The knight can come in, capture the pawn, attack the queen. When the queen moves, you can make a trade, and then the knight returns. And black won a very important pawn. She moved? Yeah, she played the rook back. Okay, good news. Good news, everyone. The rook has returned. She admitted her mistake. Now the big question is, how does Miley feel about her position? Will Miley now move her knight back and tell Alexandra, I would just like to go back and forth here. I would be happy with a draw because I don't like my position. Big decision now for Miley. Does she retreat and try to get the draw? Or does she do anything else? Something else. And if she does something else, what? Because this is very important. Now that the rook protects the pawn on f2, Alexandra has a threat. Knight takes, like if we just make a nothing move for black, if the king moves into the corner, Alexandra now has the threat of trading the knights and then moving her knight up. Previously, this was not an option because it would open up the threat against the f2 pawn. But now that the rook has returned, this is an option. And now two of white's pieces are attacking the black pawn, which means black will have to move their pawn up to defend. But that means the black king feels a lot less safe with that king moving up. And here Alexandra can win by moving her pawn up, attacking the knight. There's a trade, pressure on the knight, and when the knight moves, Alexandra can invade with her knight. And this should be a winning position for white, because the pawn on h5 cannot be defended. So Miley now actually has to be very careful. Yes, Alexandra went back and forth. Often your instinct when your opponent does that is to punish them. But it's not clear that this indecision can be punished very easily. What should she have done instead of moving the rook in the first place? Yeah, so if Miley now returns her knight and tries to go back and forth, Alexandra will then play knight e1. And the idea is that you get ready to push your pawn forward and chase the knight away. And after the knight has been chased away, then you get your knight up. And then you can move your rook over. So basically, you need to chase away the black knight before you continue the plan. The plan of moving your rook over to the queen side, to the left side of the board, that was a good one. It's just that the timing was off. Okay, so this is the current situation. Miley should probably play bishop h5. Bishop h5, good move. And she's probably going to do it. And the idea is here, when Alexandra trades, you take back with the bishop. And then, magically, this bishop, which previously was being blocked by its own pawns, has managed to get in front of the pawns and is now doing okay. And here, Alexandra would probably play something like knight e4, trade, bishop puts pressure on knight, and then f3. f3 chasing the knight away, and then we return to this plan of pushing forward. So yeah, Miley has definitely, this position here is much better for black than the similar situation that could arise here. Do you see the difference between these two lines? The difference is that here black has an extra knight and an extra bishop. There's more pieces on the board. And that's a disadvantage for black because kind of the pieces are standing in each other's way. For instance, this bishop, we wanted to have this bishop put pressure in towards the white knight in the center. But it cannot do that now because there's another black piece standing in the way. Why not knight d2 instead of knight e1? Asks Levantino. That's a good question. And it relates to what I just said. Why do I go to the edge of the board instead of putting pressure in towards the center? And the reasoning is quite simple. Because if I do it like this, black manages to get a trade, which means it's easier to get that bishop putting pressure in towards the middle. So in general, when we have a space advantage is when your pawns are higher up the board than your opponent. When you have a space advantage, you generally don't want to trade pieces. Because if you avoid the trades, the opponent's position will be cramped. It means that their kind of safe space behind their own pawns is pretty small. And the more pieces you have in that area, the more they're going to be kind of standing in the way of each other. More space, no trade. As a general rule, yes, James. As a general rule. But in chess, there's always specific exceptions. But as a general rule, the more space you have, the less you want to trade the minor pieces. Is there no limit to how much time you have to move? Yes, there is a limit. The players have 1.5 hours on the clock. But I don't have the clocks on the screen. Well, because it's not really that significant. Both players have plenty of time. And also I have some technical issues. I struggle getting the clock times on the screen. It's not a boomer problem. It's a number of screen problems. I have 3 screens, but one of them isn't working. So I'm kind of lacking, well, space. I have too many pieces and too little space. Too many things, elements I need to get in on the stream, and not enough space to showcase all of it. That's definitely a boomer problem. It's not my fault that my screen is malfunctioning. I'm not having it. Wow. Gerber first scams chat of their channel points. And now he's insisting people complimenting me do it in English. I guess that's fair. The moderators do not speak Norwegian. So they cannot know that you're being complimentary towards me. So everyone who wants to compliment the streamer, do so in English. I gotta admit, I was expecting a rush of compliments right now. But I guess I misjudged the moment. It's okay. Hammer fishing for compliments? Well, you catch more fish when fishing. Like, there have been people standing along a shoreline, and a fish, especially during storms, a fish will just randomly jump and hit you in the face. It does happen. So you can catch a fish not fishing. But it's much, much more likely to happen if you got the right equipment. and say the right things. Okay, h4 has been played. Good move. Good move. She's making it difficult for Alexandra to untangle out of this whole situation. Because now, if Alexandra makes the trade, the pawn captures in from the side, opening up the H file. Very dangerous. The knight can move up into the center. But if we give black a couple of moves here, if we give black a little bit of time to execute her plan, this is basically black's idea. Queen and rook working together on the H file. Disaster. So, we should not take this knight. In fact, as someone already said in chat, the best move, Queen C2. Why is that the best move? Well, because then we can retreat the knight and say, oh, this guy is looking pretty dumb. What is this guy doing? But if we do this, Miley, feeling like she's on the offensive, Miley might sacrifice. She might give away her knight for free because what she cares about is opening up on the side of the board. And look at the eval. Massive black advantage despite losing a knight for only a pawn. Game over. So this means, because of this latest move from Miley, Alexandra has a massive problem. She doesn't have an easy way to kick the black knight away. For instance, if h3 now, trying to attack the knight, maybe bishop f6. Takes back. If the knight retreats, g5, queen trying to get over here. Okay, engine says winning for white. But this is the kind of plan that is very, very scary for white. But it seems like, according to the engine, here that plan cannot be utilized. But another problem of this h3 move, this is very important. If the knight just retreats, it's difficult here for white to kick the black knight away. Because now every time you attack the knight can move forward. So it's very important for Alexandra to realize she should not move this pawn up, because then it becomes much more difficult to dislodge the black knight. This is a very scary position for Alexandra. Miley has seized the initiative after an unfortunate opening. And I'm not sure what white is supposed to do here. It's become tricky. You know what? I think I prefer just taking the knight. And then moving up in the middle. And then attacking the black knight. I think just eliminating some of these attacking pieces for black and chasing back the black knight, I think that would be my priority here. But unfortunately, the eval bar then back to it being an equal position. But you know, you can win equal positions. And here you have an opening for the rook to point down on the black king. Winnable. But yeah, this position is scary. It's very scary. Wow, chat is using the Papa Botez analysis. Chat is analyzing Alexandra's stare. And she's looking down on the right side of the position. This is where it's going on. This area here, that's where we need to be focused right now. Miley's posture, okay. We got some posture analysis people as well. Miley is kind of hunched. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Alexandra is leaning forward. That's got to be a good thing. She seems focused. Mouth covered means hiding intentions. Wow, all the hobby psychologists made it to the stream today. This is a very critical moment. Alexandra seems to be getting ready to make her move. Moving her hand a little bit closer to the board. I don't mind her thinking for quite a bit here. I think this is a very critical moment in the game. If you make a mistake here, you're going to be suffering with that for a very long time for moving forward. If there's any point you should spend a lot of time, this is it. And she's got plenty of time on the clock. Monar Sardosh is not better than Alexandra, no. The 1500 Alexandra lost to was 1850 Blitz on chess.com. The numbers for the World Chess Federation does not automatically correspond to the chess.com numbers. In fact, the chess.com numbers don't even correspond with each other. It's much easier getting 1500 rapid on chess.com than it is getting 1300 blitz. Like even on chess.com, the numbers cannot be compared. Because most of the strong players in the world are not playing the 10-minute rapid games. So that means that, oh no. Oh no. Oh no. H4. I'm not a fan. It seems very dangerous moving your pawn forward on the side of the board where you're worse. Oh no, she went h3. Okay. Still a bad move. Moving this pawn makes it more difficult to dislodge the black knight. Miley quickly moving the knight back. Okay, at least we forced black to go back. But I'm very concerned about this knight. And I'm very concerned about black pushing her pawns further forward on the king side. Very scary position. Engine eval is saying advantage for white. But I don't see how. To me, this feels like a good attacking position for black. Because you have a very easy plan of moving your pawn forward. And expose your king? Yes, so in a way, moving the pawn forward exposes the black king. But if we just look at what could happen. When this pawn moves forward, you're forcing the white pieces back. And so even though the king now has fewer pawns protecting it, white's access to this part of the board has been denied because these black pieces are doing a great job of preventing for instance, the white queen, the white bishop, the other white bishop. These pieces are not being able to join the attack, which is why even though black's king doesn't have a lot of pawns defending it, it's still actually black's king that is much safer than white's. Because in the comparison between the two, it's much easier for black to have pieces over on this side than it is for white. So yeah, I'm very concerned. It's a dangerous position for white here. And all of this action on the king side and this plan of pushing the pawn forward here, it has completely distracted Alexandra from what was her main idea, which was pushing the pawns forward on the opposite side. Why didn't Miley play knight takes e5? Well, I think that's because she didn't want the trade of knights. Because that would make it easier for Alexandra to, at some point in the future, move her pawn forward and attack the knight. So by making sure Alexandra still has the knight on f3, it becomes more difficult for white to dislodge the black knight in the middle. And also, now that black is the one pushing the pawns forward, it's going to be black who has the space advantage. So when you're expecting to grab the space advantage in the near future, you don't want to make trades. Is knight d2 an option for Alexandra now? Yes. Knight d2 is definitely an option. Acknowledging that black has a very dangerous attack going on and trying to eliminate this knight. Just trying to take that knight, whatever the cost. Probably a good idea. Onyx. So Alexandra had a really good opening and got an advantage, but she made one inaccuracy with her rook, and now Miley is on the attack. The computer likes white's position still, but to me it feels like it's much easier to play with the black pieces. So we're pretty nervous. Is Hammer the best commentator in the game? Yes. Thank you for your question. The answer is yes. Top 3 most experienced commentator in the world. Maybe top 4. Danny Ranch, Jan Gustafsson, maybe Peter Svidler, maybe Aman Hambleton. But when it comes to most experience, I'm probably number 1. Definitely in the top 5. But you guys just don't know. You guys don't know because I do commentary on Norwegian television. And lots of you have made the mistake of not learning how to speak Norwegian. But you can still remedy that. It's never too late to get some new skills. One of the best new skills in the world, knowing how to speak Norwegian. It can get you a job, and it can get you the best chess entertainment out there. And it can get you the ability to live in Norway with healthcare. Just putting it out there. Canada has healthcare, yeah, but most watching is still American, even though it's a Canadian championship. Hammer stirring up the chat. It's so much fun, Francis. I can't resist. We also have nice skiing. Canada is basically Norway, just bigger. And I guess we already established bigger is better. Yeah, that's true, Dan. I did say that earlier this stream. And some Canadians are Norwegian. Eric Hansen comes to mind. I say are Norwegian. He's like 1/8 Norwegian. Still counts. In Norway, if you're a star, you do something and you have like Norwegian grandparents or great grandparents. You know, we're just so happy with Norwegians making their mark on the world. In Norway, one of the most popular TV shows was having, it was like a reality game show kind of thing where people who had Norwegian ancestry got taught Norwegian customs and had to do like skiing and like traditional Norwegian things. And the winner got to meet their Norwegian relatives or something. What's Norway's tax brackets? Let's just say if you're rich, it's better to be in the US. But the thing is, only like 3, 4, 5% of us can be rich. And if you're not in those percentages, you might want to consider a nice, quiet place like Norway. Are you rich? No. Do you have saunas like in Finland? Yes, Tenor. In fact, we have like these saunas that are outside, like in the middle of the city. So like you can walk, be a tourist looking at the nice opera house, and then like 100 meters from the opera house, you can go to the sauna that is floating on the fjord. Floating sauna. And so you go to the sauna and then you jump into the cold water outside. And then you go back into the sauna. Show us a picture. Alexandra really wanted to go, Papa Botez, but you know they got sick and whatnot. There were a lot of things they didn't have an opportunity to do in Oslo. And Alexandra has this thing. She says, "Oh no, I'm never coming back now. I only visit a place once." I'm not a fan of that policy, but what are you gonna do? Oslo isn't the best example of what Norway has to offer. You, sir, you're very lucky I only have a VIP badge instead of a mod. That is the kind of comment that would get the hammer, bringing out the hammer. Sure, Papa Botez. Yeah, it's a bit tricky for me, maybe. No, I can do that. Let's see if we can get Papa Botez. Yeah, I can hear you.
Hey, chat.
Can you say something again? I'm just checking sound levels.
Okay, checking for my
Yeah,
sound level
you're
on
good.
chat.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay.
Okay,
Right,
Papa
guys.
Botez, what are you thinking about Alexandra's play? Did you see her game yesterday?
Yes, I was watching from start to the end.
It
So,
was fantastic, no?
yes, you're right. The H6 was kind of, I called that H6 moves the move when your chess is ending and you have no idea what to do, and then you play a quiet move like a one square with the pawn in front of the rook. I noticed that with so many kids. So you guys, if you play chess, whenever your opponent, the action is somewhere else, and your opponent is playing a quiet move like a3, a6, or h3, whatever color, that means his or her chess is over, and they kind of run out of ideas.
You do realize
This
Alexandra's previous move was H3?
I know, but that has a reason. She was chasing the knight. Okay, let's put it that way. So she can clear eventually the rook from f1 to move somewhere else. But I'm saying in the previous game was I still don't know why she played that.
Yeah.
Did she explain that?
Well, she admitted it was a mistake.
I know, but what was the reasoning? I'm still, in order
Well,
not to
I'm
repeat a
pretty sure
mistake.
she wanted to go G5. She wanted to attack.
Oh, I see. Okay, okay. So I've seen a lot of questions about Mali. So I know her since she was a kid because she was in the same age bracket as Andrea. So pretty much she kind of started chess a little bit late because when Andrea won the nationals, she was not playing, and then her chess knowledge went exponential. Obviously, the time proved that she has a lot of talent, and she started winning the nationals, and she got her title, the woman grandmaster title. She got her title as the Continental Championship, Woman Continental Championship. So she was one of, maybe she started like on the sixth position or seventh position, and she won the first six games, something similar with the Canadian zonal right now. And by the end of the tournament, she was a continental champion. And International Chess Federation has this rule that if you win a big tournament like this, they award you with an automatic title. So any of you who can come from nowhere and become the world champion without title, you guys are gonna have the grandmaster title by the end of the tournament without getting Norse or anything like that. So anyway, I know personally they play together in the chess Olympiad in the same team, so they know each other well. I'm not sure if they're close friends, but I'm sure they like each other. The same with Svetlana, who's playing in the background over there, and might be kind of Canadian chess friendship where a lot of people are super nice, so it's impossible not to like them. Is that same thing with the Norwegian chess hammer? Are the people super nice like Canadian?
I would like to plead the fifth on this question. For
I
once, I'm
see.
going to avail myself of the American justice system. I'm not sure we have the fifth in Norway, but
Yeah, you call it the third maybe.
yeah. Okay, we got to move. Oof. Okay, she played h4. I'm not sure I'm liking these pawn moves on the side, but I understand her intentions. So we were talking about how black now had a very nice plan of pushing the pawn forward and starting the attack. By playing h4, Alexandra is preventing that. But on the other hand, now Miley will probably play her knight back where it came from, exploiting the fact that the pawn that chased her away on the previous move is no longer there. And so the knight can return. And that's what she does.
I see.
Alexandra is, she's definitely under pressure here.
Right, but let's consider a little bit the knight g4 move for black. So if you know the things are just staying like that, I don't see how that h4 pawn is going to be attacked too soon. One of the thing. The second thing is that right now, can Alexandra just ignore and start continue with her plan attacking on the queen side
No, I think
with
what she
the
did is better. She played g3 now, and she's just solidifying. So she's
yeah.
just keeping everything protected. And now she's gonna play king g2 next. Like if bishop comes to try and attack towards the middle, then king g2. And if there's trades, well, it's just not clear what black is doing anymore, because this bishop, it was supposed to go out on the side of the board to exchange itself off, but the way Alexandra has played, the pawn on h5 is stuck there, and so the bishop cannot use that square. And so black is just sitting there with this really bad bishop, and that has nowhere to go. So actually, the more I think about it, the more I'm liking Alexandra's plan. My main concern was that Alexandra was just going to get wiped off the board with an attack coming in on the king side. But the way she's playing, she's showing great attention to this attack. And it feels to me like she has succeeded in preventing it. And that white now is okay. The computer engine, has gone over on black's side, but earlier the computer was saying good for white, and I was still saying black has a good position. Now the computer is saying good for black, but I'm saying white has a good position. So maybe I have gained your trust by saying that the previous situation was actually advantageous for black, which is why the computer turned around. But now I'm saying for a human, the position is easier to play for white after this plan Alexandra chose. So it's very likely that the engine's evaluation is going to go back and favor white in the next 3-4 moves.
So if I look at the position, based on what, of course, at how much chess I know, so looks like there are no pieces exchanges. All the pawns are on the board, so it's not yet a close position because with the exceptions of the C and D pawns, nothing else is blocked. And okay, H pawn. The Alexandra has a little bit more space, a lot of space if you look on the queen side. So. I would say that's a slight advantage for Alexandra.
Yeah.
And also, the rooks. Look at the bishops. The light square bishop of black is kind of interrupting the connection between the rooks, which Alexandra doesn't have a problem. Of course, she cannot move the rook from f1 because of the knight's attack, but maybe with the maneuver of the bishop and putting the bishop on c2, let's say, or putting the queen on c2 and bishop on d3, I don't think Mali is going to change two knights for a rook and a pawn.
No.
If she does, it's going to be obviously in a white's advantage. So maneuvering a little bit the queen and the bishop, and after that, you can easily transfer the rook on the BC file over there and start pushing the pawns. It's a simple to find plan.
Yeah, no, actually, I think basically whatever black does here, Alexandra's next move is going to be king g2, because she wants to offer more protection to the pawn on g3. So let me suggest an example line. If black is just wasting time, the king moves up, and if you make a trade in the middle, and the king goes back and forth, we manage to illustrate what is Alexandra's plan. She wanted to have this pawn on h4 to control the g5 square, make it more difficult for black to attack there. Then she wanted this g3 pawn to protect the other pawn she went forward with. And now she wants to move her king up to protect the g3 pawn so that she can safely kick black's knight out, by the king then giving protection to the g3 pawn. And if Alexandra is successful in chasing this central knight back, then she will once again have a much superior position. So it's very interesting to see what Miley's plan will be now, because black's plan here is not at all obvious. And she chooses to go queen to d8. So she's putting pressure in on this side of the board, but Alexandra can just continue in the same vein she was planning, moving her king up. And then if Miley then plays g5, which I assume is her plan,
Okay.
yeah, then what? Ooh, that might be a very good plan from Miley. So probably takes, takes. Queen comes into the attack. Yeah, this is unpleasant for Alexandra, but maybe she has to move knight f3. Okay, computer says bad move. I don't understand why that was a bad
How about
move.
trading on g4?
Yeah, but if you trade, then you open up for the black rook. That seems very nasty.
And can you push twice now?
f4?
Yeah.
Ah, good
No,
move.
it's bad. It's bad.
Excellent
Sorry.
move. Excellent move. Probably the only move. Probably the only move. And then when the queen is kicked back, then you make the trade. And now there's a
Yeah.
big difference that this pawn is higher up. But this still looks good for black, though. Because
How
now
black
this
can
knight cannot be
break the
kicked away.
blockade here? So, you know, you're gonna put your rook back on h1 right now and keeping that
Yeah,
square.
but the
Black doesn't
difference
have a
is, look at the difference in the bishops. The problem here is that White's bishop is being blocked by its own pawns, whereas Miley's bishop is able to come in to the middle of the board and have a very, very good positioning there. So this looks rather good for black.
I agree.
Yeah, so that queen d8 move Miley just played, that was strong. I think honestly, I've been watching some of Miley's games so far in the tournament, and she has not been impressive. She has a 6 out of 6 score, but her games have been messy, and it's been quite a lot of mistakes and so on. I feel like here, when she's playing against Alexandra, she's genuinely bringing her A game. Yes, she was worse out of the opening, but that's because Alexandra was very well prepared. And now she's this queen d8 move I think was very clever with the plan of g5, and she's putting up a lot of pressure on Alexandra.
So I'm not sure if the chat knows, but Mali, it's a little bit of, maybe I can call her a semi-professional chess player. So she's currently a student in the United States at what we call a chess university. So she got her tuition covered by the university just based on her chess knowledge, and of course, I'm sure her scoring in school. So she's a very bright girl. So pretty much she's playing for the chess university team. She played for that university in what's called Pan American intercollegiate teams. She did very well there. She's very well. I spoke with a couple of grandmasters who are part of the team, and she's very well respected and liked. Of course, like any other Canadians.
Of course.
I have to add that one, right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, that's
So
coming.
yeah, no, it's crunch time. This game is really heating up, and Alexandra has played very well so far, but her opponent is matching that same skill level, and Black now with a very dangerous plan of opening up on in front of White's king. This is going to be a really exciting game in the next hour.
Okay, so can we get the prediction here for Alexandra's move? King G2 or something else?
Yeah, no, King G2 definitely.
Are you sure? She's taking a lot of time for King G2, which is definitely
Well, I just don't see what else she could do.
um, knight knight H2.
Knight
Trade one of those.
H2? I mean, yeah, but trading these knights I mean, you might even sacrifice. No, give up the bishop, come with the queen into the attack. This king is not having a good time.
I agree on that. Okay. And bishop takes here.
If bishop takes here, pawn takes, and then just in time, this rook will come to assist the queen. And it's difficult for Alexandra to get her pieces into defensive positions to assist the king.
Yeah, and now looks like Alexandra's dark square bishop supposed to do kind of the same thing that Mali's bishop do, like move several times to
Yeah,
get out of that
precisely. Yeah,
diagonal.
that's a very important point. That this bad black bishop has been able to kind of find new horizons. Whereas Alexandra's bishop, now that one is the real culprit, because it's just being blocked in by its own pawns. These pawns are kind of blocking the bishop's future. So yeah, no, I definitely think King G2 is the move here. I'm gonna take a bathroom break since I have you on, and then you can
Excellent. Okay.
entertain chat on your own a little bit.
Okay, chat. Let me see what questions you have that I may be able to answer. I don't have a international ELO. I'm a coach for kids, and I'm just an chess arbiter, that international chess arbiter. What's up today? It's Eastern, so happy Eastern, and whatever you celebrate. I know Passover. It's also. And if there are any Orthodox here, today we celebrating all the ladies who have a flower name. So happy Names Day for all the ladies who are having a flower's name. I'm not sure if it's a Muslim. I understand it's no Muslim celebration. If it is, I wish you a happy holiday for you too. I'm not a master. I'm just a B, maybe a B class player. Okay. Yeah, flowers name holiday. Come on. Yeah, I know. That's it. Uh, I've been to Danube Delta. It's one of the best places if you guys whoever wants to visit some natural reservation with lots of plants, and if you like fishing, that's for you. Oh, congratulations, Crimson, for playing with your daughter. That makes you a wonderful dad. Hello, everyone again. Alex or Andrea, seriously, Tim, can you split your love between your kids? If you can do that one, you have a problem. Andrea is fighting snakes, so as far as I understand, she's getting a lot of preparation. So I'm not sure what she's doing. What kind of martial arts it's the best for fighting snakes, but I'm sure she'll find the one, maybe running. I don't know. It's running a martial arts, so running from snakes. That was my advice for her. Said I told her two things. So first of all, don't go out in the night. You might not see the snake. And second one, if you see a snake, start running. Don't try to see if it's dead or anything like that. Yes, Indiana Jones style. It's exactly what I mean. And I'll be honest, if I see a snake, I'm going away too. I am not trying to argue with the snake. Camp, yes, I might be their actual dad, yes. And Hammer is back. So the chances for Alexandras to qualify to the Olympiad, let me clarify that for the people who are in chat. So the team for Olympiad for one team in Canada is done by by the way, Hammer, thumbs up. Your King G2 move was played. I'm not sure if you are media or not.
Yeah,
But
I'm here.
yeah, we see you. So what I was saying for the participation in the Chess Olympiad, when you are part of the Canadian Chess Federation, the rules are kind of simple if but it's very hard to kind of plan anything else excepting playing good chess, I would say this is a good way to make the team, because by the way, the only qualified spots, the only person that is for sure in the team is the Canadian champion. So that's the reason whoever is winning this tournament is going to have an automatic spot for the team. And by the way, that's not going to be automatically the place you on the board one on the Canadian team. So that's based on the coach decision. All the Olympic teams, they have their coaches that are usually depending on the federation. Sometimes they are named by the federation, and in Canada, based on history and stuff like that, the coach is voted by the players. So pretty much the Canadian Chess Federation is asking, they are asking the players, who would you like to be the coach? Usually they can have a couple of offers or not, and then the players are going to vote on the coach, and that coach is going to be named for Canadian team. So getting back to this, I was saying that I think it's pretty fair that the current Canadian champion to qualify to play in the Chess Olympiad team by default, and the rest of the spots. So they are during the Olympiad, which is like Hammer mentioned, it's a team event. There are four boards. Each country is playing against other countries with the on the four boards, and they have two reserves. Two reserves because sometimes there are different ideas behind this. I know about teams that have players that are very good at black and very good at white. So I know the case where a lot of teams are playing just specific players with the black pieces and so on. So they have two reserve players. So those five spots, one being automatically awarded to the champion, are are uh, awarded based on simple calculation. You are just doing the average between Canadian rating and international FIDE rating. You have that average, and based on that average plus a couple of points that are you can consider these bonus points. So if you play in the Canadian zone like this one, in order to encourage the players to play in the Canadian zone, as you can notice here, maybe or not, if you're watching on the men's side of the Canadian close, you're going to see a lot of people that you know, like the Grandmaster Eric Hansen and Aman. They are not participating, but in order to encourage all the players, and by the way, let me make to specify that I'm not accusing Eric or Aman not participating in a tournament. There are many other grandmasters who are not participating in a tournament. The top grandmaster in Canada, I didn't see them all on the list, but they are taking their chances because uh, on that average that I was mentioning that we're gonna make the spots, they're gonna add or subtract points based on the participation on the Canadian close, and also they're gonna add an extra bonus for the players who are finishing on the top three in this championship. So I would say that the way that Canadian team is made, it's very clear for all the players. You know, in advance, you can do your math at home. Uh, and I was saying that the only thing that is going to qualify is playing good chess. And the reason for that one, you have no idea, for example, if one of the players that's close to the qualification spot is going to go and play in the tournament, and his or hers rating is going to go up. So all the math that you're doing at home might change after a weekend tournament. So I hope I explained that one.
Yeah.
So what do you think? Why do you think my lead's looking so long for her next move?
I don't know. I guess she just feels like you need to think extra when you're making a big splash on the board. But she's definitely playing G5. There's no doubt about it. She is wanting to win every single game of this event. She's going for a 9 out of 9 score, and she's going to try to attack Alexandra's king in this next sequence of moves.
Did any of the, as far as you know, did any of the Norwegian championship finish with a 9 out of 9? Like in US they have this Bobby Fischer prize
Yeah.
that it's awarding, I think, 40,000 US dollars. Okay, we have a move. Let's see.
She didn't play G5.
Oh, so how
Wow.
about
That's very good news for Alexandra. Miley instead playing rook to c8. That's a weird move. I don't see the point of this move at all. And that means Alexandra has one more move where she can prepare the upcoming assault on the white king. The question is, how do you get ready for it? And that's not an easy question to answer, in fact. Because it feels like, oh, I understand what Miley is doing. Oh my gosh, she's sneaky. She's trying to get her rook over from the left side of the board to the right side. She's saying, I don't need to stress out about pushing my attack forward. She's
that's
just
what we call
taking
chess
her time.
experience, right?
Yeah, she's just taking her time in getting that rook over to the other side.
But you also realize what rook c1, rook c8 means, right? It means another moment for to get clipped where Coach Hammer got, you know,
I'm not sure I
contradicted by the
understood.
players. So you're saying that I think Gerber is gonna make some videos with you going on. Pretty much you're saying that G5 is 100% the next move, and you got wrong
I,
again.
that's part of my commentary style.
I
And this
see.
is actually something I've advised Alexandra on also. When you're doing commentary, the important part is having an opinion.
I
Because
agree.
as long as you have an opinion, then if it turns out you were wrong, you can say, oh, I was wrong. And then that's kind of part of the, oh, he was wrong. Oh, he was wrong. And then sometimes when you have an opinion, you're right. And then you're like, yes, we predicted this. So by having an opinion, you kind of you create these opportunities for more energy into the broadcast.
And you know what's the good part of being wrong? Is the fact that all the Twitch viewers, which are regular chess people, seeing that the grandmaster can be wrong, they make, I'm human. Hey, look, the grandmaster are making mistakes like I am, and and so on. So I think that's a good thing. But let me ask you this: what do you think about moving the knight from f3 with the intention to push f3?
Oh, that's definitely what she's trying to do. The question is, can she do it? Because as we kind of analyzed earlier, if this knight moves, then we might be afraid about bishop sacrificing itself on the side of the board. Um, and then the queen coming up as well. The advantage now compared to the previous move. So last time, when we analyzed this idea, the knight moving back and the bishop sacrificing on the side of the board, if the knight now went to attack the queen could move forward and stay in that general vicinity of the white king. The
That's
difference
not the case,
is,
by the way. Queen c2 was played.
yeah, so
Sorry for interrupting.
the difference is that now that Alexandra has played king g2, if she now moves the knight and there's a sacrifice, then she is able to use the knight to kick the queen away because the king has taken control of this very important h3 square. So maybe moving the knight back was an option for Alexandra. I hear people are saying she played queen c2 instead. Oh, and that's a blunder because of knight takes f2. No. No, knight takes f2. And now if the rook recaptures, there's a knight fork. The knight attacks both the king and the queen. And that's a blunder on the board. And Miley has seen it. Miley has seen it. She's sitting ready with her hands. She has identified the importance of this pawn. And she's reaching out to capture it with her knight. And Alexandra realizes what she has done. And the move is on the board. Knight takes f2. Great awareness from Miley. Alexandra, pretty much in this game, she made one mistake. And that one mistake is now being severely punished.
So she has to take the knight now?
Yeah, probably. So you can still trade knights, but then this guy who came to capture the pawn can successfully evacuate. And now there's also pressure on the pawn on e3. That pawn was holding together White's entire position. Look here. Look at how that pawn on f2 is protecting the other pawns up the board. This is what we call the root of the pawn chain. And it's the most important pawn because that's the one holding everything together, offering protection in both directions. And now that pawn was blundered, it's just game over, unfortunately. Losing that pawn is just there's no coming back from that.
As a father, let's agree to disagree. The game is not over. In fact, it's a known fact that when it's a pawn chain, like the one on starting with f2, g3, h4 on the other side, the base is to attack. The rule is to attack the base of the pawn chain, which Miley did very well. But let's hope. List, okay, it's not hopeful chess, but let's hope that pretty much now Alexandra has the rook on a semi-open file. I'll see what's gonna happen from now on. It's not over, Hammer. It's not over. Come on.
Are you ordering me to be optimistic? Because
I'm
since
not
I am
ordering
hired by the Botez stream, if a Botez tells me to do something, am I obliged to do it then? I'm not sure whether that was covered in my employment contract.
I'm not suggesting that you are forced. I'm suggesting that will be a good state of mind to.
I had an employer previously saying, "Oh, we would appreciate if you didn't do this." And it turns out what they meant is that if you do this, we will never work with you again. But I kind of misconstrued the comment they made. And so when you say I'm not demanding you do this, I'm just suggesting it would be in your interest. It's giving me flashbacks to that situation when I didn't understand an ultimatum made that was formulated kind of a bit special because of, well, legal reasons.
That's not the case, okay? Let's establish that. It's not the case.
Okay. So I am allowed to not be optimistic, or I'm just strongly encouraged to be?
You are strongly encouraged to be yourself. How about that?
I don't know. This is giving me the legalese kind of, we cannot say we're going to fire you, but we will fire you.
Okay, I'll be on your side. If anyone in my family wants to fire you, said Papa Botez, it's against this decision.
You will be on my side if I remain optimistic.
I'll be on your side if you do whatever you like. I'm saying, for the health reason, it's better to be optimistic than pessimistic. Your health, not mine.
Okay.
I think the maybe it's not, but I thought that the people who are optimists are living longer.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Yeah, but
that means I'm going to be dead soon.
Okay.
I don't know how that works for you, but for me, kind of, I use pessimism as a defensive kind of strategy, right? That if I don't get my hopes up too much, I'm not going to be very disappointed.
that's a way. That's a way. I know many people that they go with that. So I don't know. In order to defend yourself, but it's anybody attacking you?
I,
Yeah, exactly.
in my head, they are.
Oh,
In my head, they're all coming for me. Some,
in my head.
slight paranoia tendencies.
Now it's a good time to play Cranberries in my head, right?
Yeah. I'm not daring playing any music. I don't want to get the channel DMCA'd. That would be embarrassing. Having Hammer on and then he just gets the whole channel banned for a couple of weeks would be somewhat disappointing.
I'm surprised that MC Hammer and you didn't have an agreement already that you can play his music anytime you like.
I heard
Based on
MC Hammer, or rather the people controlling the rights to his music after he went bankrupt. I heard that they're like the toughest DMCAers in the whole world.
oh, but being you're the most famous Hammer so far, so they're gonna be pretty much promoting his bankrupt music, if I can call it like that.
I'm not sure he would appreciate you calling it that, but sure, I get what you're saying.
Yeah. So at least you can hum it. By the way, how many songs by MC Hammer do you know?
One ish.
Excellent. Oh, so ish means like you might know a little bit of it.
I know Hammer Time.
Excellent. You
Yeah.
can touch this pretty much, right?
Well, honestly, that's pretty much the entire song. Can't touch this, Hammer Time. That's like a total of 4 words, and it's the entire song. That's what
Yeah.
makes songs great. The fewer the words, the more people remember.
Oh, you're trying to say that Bohemian Rhapsody, it's not a great song, or
Honestly, I probably know more accurately the Bohemian Rhapsody than I do Can't Touch This, MC Hammer.
here you go. Here you
Yeah.
go. And
Despite
that,
there being somewhat more words.
yeah, and that entire song was written by one guy.
Yeah. But to be fair, that song was on SingStar, which is the main source of my knowledge.
What? I'm sorry, I'm out of the loop. What's that?
SingStar?
SingStar?
You don't know SingStar? Oh my god, you're
Obviously not.
missing out
Missing out on, okay, on what?
on the greatest entertainment in the world. SingStar, it was like home karaoke on Nintendo.
Okay. Now, Hammer, without picking on you,
If
I
Alexandra
watched
was a
you
little bit older,
stream.
you would know what it was. Okay.
I watch your stream and I notice what kind of games are you playing, so I'm not sure if I'm missing. Okay, let's watch. So
Oh my
knights being
gosh.
exchanged.
Papa Botez, all the ways he could choose to burn me. He goes after my taste in video games. Wow. Okay, so the knights have been exchanged. And now there's the threat on the e3 pawn still. Alexandra has lost a pawn, and her remaining pawns are more weak as a result, because she lost the one that was protecting all the others.
So the next move, she has to defend e3, and the e3 pawn cannot be pushed. So if you go by elimination, how you can defend the e3 pawn? Not with the king, not with the rook. So it's gonna be 2 moves. Might be the rook on a3, not the rook on f1, obviously, and that might be interesting move.
Yeah.
Or maybe the bishop c1, putting your bishop on a slightly better diagonal,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
I would
pretty much
say I
putting your
probably
queen there.
prefer bishop c1. And the reason for that is it makes it more difficult for Miley to do this g5 plan. Because if
Yeah.
she advances now, there will be some trades. And then the fact that we have the bishop here pointing towards the queen, we can push forward and get our bishop into the game.
But that will gonna be a trade, right? Knight can go e3, 4 king, so you're forced to exchange the bishop for the knight.
Yeah, I guess. But then I can maybe start capturing black's pawns. And I can get, I don't know, a rook here, rook. I don't know. You're down a pawn, but, you know, being down a pawn is not the worst thing here as opposed to in this position. Because the difference is that in the current position on the board, this pawn on e3 is a major weakness. If we could magically get this pawn up to e5 and prevent this knight to e3 thing, if you could get this position, then computer is saying white is better despite being down a pawn. So the main problem here is the pawn on e3. If we can exchange this one off, that would be very nice. But it seems unlikely to happen on account of, well, black having complete control on the square in front of the pawn.
And Alexandra looks like she chose a different move, queen b3, to defend the e3 pawn.
Okay, queen b3 defends.
Bravo. Yeah.
And then g5 very quickly here from Miley. She's going on the offensive now. And she wants to get this trade so that she can attack the e3 pawn once again. And Alexandra should probably make this trade and then move her rook up as a blockader. Honestly, that's not a bad trade for Alexandra. I feel like Miley rushed a little now, pushing that pawn up.
Right, so the knight will need some moves in order to attack that rook, to force it back, and you know.
Yeah, well, the only square the knight can attack the rook is from g6. And if you're going to spend time trying to maneuver the knight there, Alexandra is going to have so much more time improving her position in the meantime. For instance, Alexandra is back to this plan of b5. Alexandra is now thinking about continuing her queenside offense. So yeah, I'm not sure I like this move from Miley. And I think it would be nice for Alexandra to make the trades now.
Plus, she's getting a little bit in low on time. 11 minutes versus 36 minutes from Miley.
Yeah, Miley is really piling on the pressure on the board and on the clock.
So it doesn't matter which order she's going to capture the g5 pawn, right? Pawn or knight, I would say.
I mean, I would definitely use the pawn first, just to kind of give... Because the reason you want to go with the weakest piece first is that if you take with the knight first, then kind of the opponent can choose to do something else after the trade. Whereas if you take with the pawn first, the opponent cannot get away with capturing back without the whole trade being completed.
So what you're saying is pretty much a basic rule. No, it's a basic rule in chess. What Coach Hammer said, that if you have a choice to capture, usually you're gonna go with the piece that's lower in value, except if you have obviously a good reason not to. But
I think so. In general, you do the pawn capture before the piece capture. Well, I'm not sure if it's a general rule.
I think there is a general rule. At least I read it in so many places. So, but knight takes g5. It's kind of forced bishop takes because knight it's threading the e6 pawn. So no, if you don't capture back, you have to defend the e6 pawn, and I don't see. I really don't see the difference.
Oh yeah, no, sure. I'm saying that after the trade, maybe now black can do something better than getting the queen up, which seems unlikely in this position, but maybe in other instances that would have some effect.
Yeah, you might, even if you don't take the pawn right now, your rook f4 suggested move looks like fine.
Yeah. Rook f4 is coming anyway. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe I was underestimating Alexandra's chances, but after this g5 move, I feel like it's possible to make a blockade on the dark squares. So the idea here is that Miley is giving away her dark squared bishop, and after all of these trades, Miley has a bishop on the light squares. Every single one of her pawns is also on the light squares. So she has very good control of half the squares on the board, but she has no control on these dark squares. So Alexandra can use those squares. Yeah, Alexandra can use those squares to put her pieces there and kind of say, you're not getting through here.
Did I hear a kind of optimism in your voice?
Yeah, some optimism, yeah.
Okay. I like that.
But, you know, she's still under pressure on time. And she's got to be in a bad mental state having made that blunder that she lost the pawn for no good reason. But, you know,
let me disagree with that one. Because when you're saying bad mental state, as base as I know my daughter, what's going to happen, it's pretty much, it's more motivational for her to play even better. You know, you know the famous Homer Simpson quote that pretty much I kind of adopted for my family: "We're not quitter, we are losers." So,
what was that?
Homer Simpson quote: "It's we are not quitters, we are losers." So we're gonna fight till the end if you want. Get the positive on that thing.
Okay.
You know, that's why she's still playing in the tournament. I was surprised if you're gonna quit. So, you know,
yeah.
My advice for her: go be a loser, not a quitter. And now I'm kidding, guys. Did your family ever suggest you that you would be better as a loser than a quitter?
I didn't have my. Okay, I was gonna be impolite. My parents were not as involved in my chess as what you have been for your daughters.
I see. That's just, you know.
But it worked out for me. I kind of found my way.
I have better things to do.
Well, I mean, I was supported. Like, they would take me to tournaments and all of that. But like, they never had any chess skill, and they never kind of got involved with training or anything like that. It was like, oh, you want to train or you want to have a coach? Okay, we will fix you a coach. But they never like got involved in details. Okay, we got the trade.
Yes.
The bishop came in to capture. The trade was made, and Alexandra makes another trade. She captures the black knight. Ooh, big decision. Big decision to capture the knight. The disadvantage of this move is that it now becomes easier for black to get their bishop into the game. Miley can now recapture with the f-pawn and thereby open up a path for the bishop to get into the middle. Controversial move there from Alexandra.
But still, f pawns, and then you still can you play rook f4?
Well, I mean, you can even trade the rooks.
Yeah.
And then you can get another rook involved. But the problem is that in the long run, you're just not going to be able to stop this bishop getting into an incredible square in the
I
middle
see
of
that.
the board.
Hammer, I'll go away for 2 minutes. I'll be back.
Okay. So, yeah. I don't know. I don't like the decision. I think it's giving black a very easy plan for the bishop to join. Yeah. And look at white's bishop. White's bishop is still being blocked by her own pawns in every situation. So, like, even if black didn't have this extra pawn, if I just took this pawn off the board, like if we go into this position, without the pawn, it's actually even better for black. Because now you have the option of getting a rook into the attack as well. So like here, black has the advantage of an extra pawn. But in addition to that, it's just that this bishop coming into the middle, it's just so strong. So strong. And it would be a winning situation even if you didn't have the extra pawn. Okay, let me mute the Botez family. Oh, let's see. Mama Botez coming in. Let's hope I can rediscover him when he returns. I'm not sure Mama Botez knew she was on. I'm not gonna have sound on for someone who doesn't know she's being broadcasted to everyone. Okay, so Miley has recaptured with the f-pawn. Good move. Opening up for the bishop. And yeah, this is pretty much game over, unfortunately. I didn't like the trade. And the reason for that is, if you put the rook here as a blockader, this black bishop didn't have a clear path to join the game. In this situation, the black pawns were still standing in the way of the bishop. But after you make the trade, you make it very easy for this bishop to get into the most powerful square on the board. And now I think it's, yeah, you can't save this. Traded rooks on f8, okay. Rook exchange, check on the king. King recaptures. Probably the best for Alexandra now is trying to be sneaky. Like if Alexandra could try and get her queen into black's position, that would probably be nice. Something like queen d3 here. If bishop comes to attack, you give a check. King moves. Queen offers trade. If Alexandra can trade queens here, she's going to save herself. Trading queens would probably save the game. And if the queen goes back, then you can start moving your queen up into some kind of attacking hope situation. Instead, Alexandra has played rook f1. Check on the king, but the king simply moves. And there's still this plan. The bishop is coming in. Wow. People were very unhappy I was not updating the board immediately. I just want to warn you guys that if you do the same when Andrea is on later today, then yeah, if you do the same, you're just you're gonna be roasted by Andrea. She is not very accepting of the uh, the chat being unhappy about the updating of the board. Okay, Papa Botes is back.
And I'm not alone. Mama Botez is here, and she's very happy with your commentary because based on our 600 chess rating, she understands a lot. So thank you, Hammer.
Thank you, Hammer.
Thank you. That's a big compliment.
I left my work to come and watch the game. I cannot work and not watch it. So, and thank you for your comments. I just love it. I told you I'm gonna learn Norwegian now too.
Oh, really?
Yes, I am. Even though I may only learn 5 words, but hey, I will learn it.
Yeah, it's better than nothing.
I agree.
Let me tell you a funny story. So I was traveling a little bit, and I was in an Uber, and I asked the driver how you doing and so on. I said, I was thinking to move to Germany, and said, yeah, but German language. I was in Romania, so German language is very hard, and pretty much his reply was very funny. He said, that's not a big deal, sir. I'm gonna learn 1 word tomorrow, maybe 2 words the following day. What? Those 600 words are not so hard to learn, and I'll speak German. I said, dude, German, it's a very hard language, and my guess is has over 1 million words. And he was totally puzzled, looked at me and said, why they need so many words? So I tried to explain. I said, okay, how would you say with your gesture, let's say you are hungry? And so you can do and pointing to your mouth and said, okay, I can understand that you are hungry. We have a couple of moves, by the way, Hammer, if you can add. And I said, how about if you say, you know what, I'm a little bit hungry, but I'm less hungry than I'm hungry. How are we gonna explain that in your with your words? Oh yeah, okay. So she was totally puzzled, and by the end of the trip, he said, I am not gonna move to Germany if they have so many words. So I'm not sure what choices you'll have in the future. Ooh, okay.
I'm not sure I caught
That's okay. That's okay.
the point of the story.
That's okay. I get many people confused, including my daughters, when I'm telling stories. So welcome to the club.
Okay, at least I'm not alone in the club.
No, it's a huge club.
Yeah, Alexandra now, I'm very puzzled by this latest move from Miley. Instead of moving her bishop into the middle, she started moving her rook. I don't really know what her intention is here. I was starting to wonder if maybe Alexandra can push her pawn up in the middle, because we've been talking about this pawn being a problem. Okay, apparently computer didn't like that. But in general, I just wanted to say that pushing this pawn up would open up for Alexandra getting her bishop back into the game. One of the major problems for Alexandra here is that all of these pawns are blocking the bishop from getting over to the right side of the board. And the right side of the board is the where the king is. Yeah, so e4 may have been an opportunity to kind of make it easier for the bishop to get over there. Instead, she plays queen d1, and now surely this bishop is coming in to the middle.
I would guess that the rook c7 move was pretty much to trade. So Miley realized that having an extra pawn, trading a little bit the rooks, not the queens, might be in her advantage, because rook is a strong defender on f4. So pretty much you try to exchange a weak rook on c8 for a very valid defender on the rook on f4.
Yeah, but in fact, I think if you exchange off the rooks, I think Alexandra is going to save herself again.
I hope so.
Because I think the main idea to keep in mind in this position is that the rook can be used, this rook on c7 can be used on the side of the board. And while Alexandra is trying to get her bishop into the game, black will, in the meantime, open up for the rook on the side, and this rook, in conjunction with the bishop coming in as well, is going to cause horrendous trouble for the white king. So, yeah, I think if the rooks are exchanged, black loses out on that idea of just opening more up around the white king, which would make it pretty likely for white to save a draw. So exchanging rooks, I would say, is a massive mistake.
No, she did not. She played the bishop, so.
Okay, bishop coming in. The bishop headed for this square on e4, a fantastic square, which Alexandra cannot control. She has no pieces that can control this well. Her pawns are all on the dark squares. Dark squared pawns cannot control light squares. Dark squared bishop cannot control light squares. So this bishop is coming in due time with a devastating effect.
But I also like to point that Alexandra dark square bishop, that means she controlled the dark square bishop, so she can still find a way to blockade using the dark square bishop.
Yes.
Still,
but she needs to get that bishop over to the other side of the board. And, well, it's rather time sensitive. So probably she should try to move that bishop over now. And if anything, she probably should have done that even earlier, right? She should have tried to get this bishop to control over here and try and stop these pawn advances on the king side.
But she still can play. No, it'll be harder. I see. Okay.
Well, it's a bit slower. So if she now goes bishop c3, the bishop will come in, give a check, king moves, bishop comes in, attacks the queen, and if the queen moves, then, you know, black is in time to push forward.
Yeah,
so,
the check would even so.
Sorry?
So the check, it's on the board now. I was wondering, what's the best square for the king to go? On the chess.com, the computer say G1. I don't see why G1.
Oh, because if you go to H2, it's more likely that you will be letting the black rook come on the H file and give a check at the same time.
About F2.
Yeah, okay. That also seems okay.
Right, but the computer says it's a difference of more than 1 point between king G1 and king F2. So king F2, it's -5. King G1 still stays at -3 almost.
Yeah. Well, I think the main difference is that when the king is on F2, it blocks the diagonal from E1 to H4. So when the king is on F2, it's more difficult to kind of get the setup we want with the bishop down to defend.
I see.
But also the bishop isn't here on C3.
Yeah, it's on B2.
Yeah, so what had happened in the meantime? Queen F1, bishop came in for a check. Alexandra moves the king to H2, which makes it more likely that this king will be checked when a rook arrives on the H file. And first, Miley is going to move her bishop forward because that bishop is now blocking the coordination between the rook and the queen. Alexandra will now need to go something like E4. she wants to sacrifice this pawn so that if the bishop captures, then she can get her rook up into the attack. And if the pawn captures, then she can kind of either get her bishop here pointing towards the queen, or maybe in some situations she can even sacrifice another pawn and try to do a situation here where she gets her queen and bishop on the same diagonal in conjunction with the rook. It looks very dangerous. Computer is saying it's game over, but this looks dangerous at least, so it could scare the opponent.
Let's hope for a miracle. I agree with that.
Yeah. So e4, that's the only move, as far as I can tell. You need to cause some disruption against the black plan of just pushing the pawn forward on the right side. Miley has been playing a very good game. Like she got a bad position from the opening, but that was mostly because Alexandra was very well prepared.
I agree. I understand.
And after that, Miley has been playing very well. And I feel like that has been when I was analyzing her games from the event, she was very often worse from the opening. So her openings are not very good. But then she's such a good fighter. And she very often manages to turn bad positions into wins, which is such an incredible skill to have. So if she just works a little bit more on her openings, she's going to become way, way stronger.
She's a college student, so I guess, school has the main priority and chess is coming second.
Sure, but at the same time, because she's in this chess program, it means that she has a lot of very strong players to kind of ask for advice and also to push her into improving. So I feel like learning openings when you're regularly training with strong players is probably easier than having to kind of figure things out on your own.
That's true. I know at least two grandmasters from Poland who are part of the same program at her university. So I would see Alexandra moving something like King G1 and trying to go King F2, getting out of that diagonal. Right now, no way. Oh, sorry. I thought that was the real move.
No, I misclicked. Yeah, and Alexandra is also running out of time. Can we get a time update in the chat?
I think they made the 30 moves. So right now she's on move 34, right? So she has at least 34 minutes based on and close to an hour to Miley.
No, but they only get extra time after 40 moves, not 30.
Oh, 40 moves. Okay, so in that case, Alexandra is down at 4 minutes. I thought that's 30 minutes. I apologize.
Yeah. But Alexandra tries the best move, pawn to e4, just trying to confuse the opponent. But I don't think Miley is very confused. I think she's just going to ignore all of these things going on, and then she's going to move her rook over. And she's just going to open up here for the rook to attack down towards the white king. And we can capture some pawns, but at the end of the day, it's going to be checkmate.
Yeah. That's the reason Miley is a woman grandmaster.
Yeah.
I know her reading is not. So for the chat, in order to be a woman grandmaster, you can achieve that one by getting to an international chess rating of 2,300. But like I said, Miley rating it's lower than that, and her title it's based on the fact that she won the Continental North American Championship, so South and North America, if you want to consider Central America too, by winning the Women Championship while she was still in high school, which is, I think it's a super great achievement, performance.
Did she move?
No. So look at this, Hammer. You're making chess interesting for 700 rated player. I, I'm wondering here, what is the percentage of the people watching? Yeah, look at that. Oh, rook on the. Oh, she didn't move the rook on the.
No, she played h4
Yeah.
first, but it's the same idea. So if
Yeah.
Alexandra now continues moving her pawn, Miley will move her rook over. And yeah, there's nothing Alexandra can do to stop this checkmating attack.
Yeah, she's trying a cheapo, but that's not gonna work. You know, in case the people are not seeing. Let's say my lead's pushing h3, which I bet 100% that's not gonna happen. Alexandra can have a discovery check with the rook f8 and
Oh
the queen
yeah, yeah. After bishop c1, yeah, yeah. Good move, good move. Bishop pointing in towards the queen. If Miley continues her plan of attacking here, Alexandra will win the game because then the
yeah.
rook comes in, gives a check, and opens up between the bishop and the queen, which means that in this case, Alexandra would win the queen. There's no checkmate, and you win the game. However, Miley is somewhat aware of that, moving her queen to the side, making sure that the queen escapes from that diagonal the white bishop was pointing in. Now Alexandra should play rook to f6. But unfortunately, after, for example, takes, then this rook h7 plan is very strong, threatening a checkmate in one move. And if the king tries to run away, then the queen can do a double attack on the rook and on the king. So unfortunately, no hope here for Alexandra. Black just has a devastating attack. And Alexandra in this game, she really only made one mistake. But that one mistake was severely punished. And her opponent, who has 6 out of 6 so far, her opponent Miley has won every single game so far. And it seems to be that is no accident. That's because she's playing very good chess. And she's about to beat Alexandra as well.
And I think my lead, somebody was asking, I think she was 16 when she became a continental champion. And, kudos to her based on the fact that in one of her game, I understand she was down a piece and she was able to recover. Is that right, Hammer?
In one of her games, she was down a queen.
Here you go. So you realize doing a Botez gambit and still winning in the zonal. So I would say that it's going to happen just in Canada.
Yeah. No, it's really amazing she survived that. And ever since, she's just been playing better than the opponents.
I'm not sure it was her, or I think it was her during the national championship. Maybe it wasn't her, and maybe I'm confusing with some other girl, but I think it was her, and she was obviously the top player in the nationals for girls, and she totally made a full blunder on the end of the game, and the opponent has a force mate in, let's say, 7 moves. But anyway, she realized the blunder right after she made the move, and with all the she was very seriously. She looked at her lower rated opponent and pretty much said, "I for your draw." The opponent, without looking at the board, happy, joy, she got the draw.
Wow.
So
she's good at chess and sneaky as hell.
That's coming from experience. I've seen so many kind of tricks happening with the experienced chess players. So yes, I would expect here a kind of Alexandra resigning in the next move or so.
Yeah. There's just no defense.
Yeah, imagine in a way, in fact, that Alexandra's chess career would be like Miley, because I'm not sure if you guys know, when she was in high school on 10th grade, she won a full scholarship at one of those chess university at the University of Texas in Dallas. And pretty much as a parent, I was kind of, hey, enjoy your high school life, do whatever you like. I'm not gonna pay for college because it's already paid, and you're gonna play chess. And as far as you go as a tradition, you go play in all the chess tournaments. Everything is paid. All you have to do is wear the school jacket, and at that university is pretty good. I agree that it was more on that better on the technical side than what Alexandra liked, but I had one kid down, one to go. That was Andrea. So okay, we have some move over there.
Yeah, Alexandra
I'll
has
continue
realized the
to
power of this bishop pointing in towards the white king. So Alexandra has captured the bishop with her rook. Unfortunately, the bishop was defended. Black simply recaptures. And now Alexandra is down a rook for bishop in addition to facing this attack down on the white king. And it's very likely Alexandra will resign now.
Yeah. So I'll finish the story. So imagine Alexandra just choosing the scholarship to University of Texas in Dallas and continue to play chess. I'm sure her chess rating in that case would be way higher than it was and it is right now. But she proved us wrong based on the fact that, hey, yes, going to Stanford was a better choice.
It's worked out for her.
Yes, not for my checking account. Sorry, let's change that. Not for my saving account. The checking was a long time gone. But again, no, half kidding, half not kidding at all. In the end, she proved us wrong because Mama Botez, which might come here, and she totally had put a lot of pressure on Alexandra not to go to Stanford based on the cost. I'm a mechanical engineer. Somebody's asking that.
Nicola coming in with the 1,000 bits. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nicola. Nicola, one of the nicest person in a internet chess world. I'm not sure if Nicola, you're playing over the board, but for sure, when it's coming about internet chess and supporting the chess community, I'll give you the Oscar.
Okay, so Alexandra has captured in the center. Then the pawn comes in, gives a check on the king. It's checkmate. Next move, Alexandra resigns, and Miley winning her 7th game in a row. What a performance from her!
Congratulations, Miley. Excellent. I call her Cookie too, and she knows. So well done, Cookie. And I noticed at the moment when Alexandra shake the hand, she had a small smile. So I think she's not. You see another smile there. I'm sure she's not terrible. She's not really upset about this game. When somebody's it's better than you. All you can do is to shake hands and accept that, and you can get better next time. What I'm happy to see, it's Miley really strong form. So based on that one, I really hope she's gonna have a great tournament in the chess Olympiad in India. I really hope that she's gonna get maybe an IM title. I'm not sure if she's not already have some norms toward the male international master title, and so far, as a stat, we do not have. That's the highest title that's been achieved by a lady in Canada. It's a woman grandmaster, and also we have a FIDE master. I know we have that, so I really hope that Miley is gonna overpass that one and represent Canada great at the Chess Olympiad, and she's gonna get her international master title. And coming back to my daughter, she played a great game. I'm suspect that she will not be disappointed. Maybe a little bit on the result, you cannot say anything, but her game against the strongest player in the tournament was, with a couple of one exceptions over there where she didn't see the fork, and that's based again on her missing chess tournaments for so long time. I think she played pretty well.
Yeah. Papa Botez, I'm not sure I have the technical ability to get Alexandra on the same call as us.
No,
Uh,
I can quit. Thank you guys. I'll join Hammer if he needs me, or Andrea if he needs me for the next round. Good luck in the next round if I cannot hear you, but I'll be online and checking your commentary. Thank you, Hammer. Thank you everyone for joining, and I hope Hammer is gonna be able to contact Alexandra and have her direct speaking with you guys. Bye everyone.
bye. Okay, so that was Papa Botez. Yeah, a tough loss for Alexandra. She played so well. She hit her opening preparation. She got a big advantage out of the opening. But, it was just one little mistake, which was massively punished by her grandmaster opponent. Yeah, that was it. That was it. It was no coming back from it. And that's how rough chess can be. One mistake is all it takes. You could have played 25 good moves, and frankly, Alexandra did do that. 25 good moves, but one bad one, and then boom. The game is lost. Go over the mistake. Yeah, we can do a repeat of the critical moment. So it was a very tense game. And look at this position we had. After 20 moves, not a single piece had been exchanged off. Every single piece still on the board after 20 moves. So it was a really, really difficult struggle. And here, Alexandra chose to retreat her queen. The idea was pretty good. She wanted to reroute her knight so that her knight could get to a better square here on f4, where it's closer to the king and can protect. But, unfortunately, the problem of this queen c2 move is that the problem of this move is that it's no longer protecting the e3 square. So when the queen went back, Miley pounced on the mistake, captured on f2. And the idea was that if the rook recaptures, black was not planning on trading two knights for a rook. That would have been a winning situation for white. These knights are just so strong because they cannot be chased away. Instead, her intention was to go with the knight and create the big fork on white's king and queen. So yeah, that was the deciding factor. One mistake. And that turned everything around. So this fork happened? No. So Alexandra, after the capture, she did something else.
Hello.
Hey. You're on.
What a blunder.
Yeah.
Also, my phone bugs out every time I open Discord. Yeah, that's brutal. I've blundered so many times this tournament. It's rough.
It was a very tricky position, though.
Yeah, but blunders still feel bad.
Yeah. Your opening was great.
Yeah, I thought I was playing the opening well, and then
Yeah, and then c5 and pushing the pawns on the queen side, that was also very good.
well, all right. I don't have what to say. I blundered.
Yeah.
Uh,
No, but I just wanted to emphasize that you played the opening well and you identified the correct plan. And then you kind of went astray with this rook b1. But overall, I think the primary problem in this game was that she just played really, really well. I don't I don't think this was such a bad game from you. I think you played 25 good moves and one bad one. Unfortunately, in chess, like one bad move can mess up everything.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
2 more games. If you win those, at least you finish on a bit of a high note. And I'm serious when I say you're playing well like these last 2 rounds. You've really raised your level compared to the beginning of the tournament. So you're kind of on the right track.
okay. Well, that's good to hear. I mean, it's gonna be a rough start. I guess to start playing over the board again, but yeah, blunders feel bad. I'll go try to finish the tournament strong.
Yeah. Chad is giving you lots of hearts right now.
I see it and I appreciate it, chat. Thank you. Thanks, chat. Appreciate it. And Hammer, everybody's been loving your commentary, so thank you.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
Yay.
Okay, get some rest, get a nap, get some food.
Yeah, I slept really badly last night. It was awful. I was so tired during the game, and then my stomach was hurting. Oh, I don't know what happened. And then I blundered. Tough. I'll try to nap.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
See ya.
Bye.
Okay, so that was not the last game of the day. There's 2 more games in the tournament. The next one is starting in 3.5 hours. 3.5 hours for the next game. Andrea will be doing commentary. She's getting up from bed at that point. And I believe I am joining as a co-commentator. So more excitement in store. But for now, we're going to have a break, an intermission of sorts. I'm just going to talk to the people in charge to figure out where we're going next. Love you. Hey, Chess Bra. I appreciate it. Drex coming in with a prime. Thank you, Drex. Well, I can't really make the decision, Gerber. I think Vila is on, and if Vila is not on, I don't really know what to do. I don't make the raid decisions. 3.5 hours. That's when the next game is starting. Grueling. Too bad about grueling North American tournament schedule. Yeah, 2 games a day is rough. And you can tell Alexandra is tired at this point. But, you know, that's chess for you. It's tough. It's suffering. But it feels good sometimes when you win. Okay, I think Vila is having internet problems. And I'm not too familiar with the channel. Gerber, what do you want me to do? Does anyone other than Vila have rating powers? Because I can't really... Okay. Well, it turns out, everyone, sorry, the adults are not home today. We don't have access to the BotezLive user account on Twitch, so there's no raid. We do like our Swedes, though. Anna Kamling is streaming right now. A Swede to follow up a Norwegian. Poor Anna. It's like jumping after Veikula. If you can't take that reference, that's a famous Norwegian ski jumper. But yeah, it means it's difficult. It's a difficult act to follow. So we're going to give this difficult task to a Swede. Because frankly, we're not that big of a fans of Swedish people. And so we're going to give them the difficult task. Okay. Hey, Code Miko. Unfortunately, this first game is finished. Alexandra lost. It was a tough game. She was playing against an opponent that had won every single game so far. And we don't have access to the BotezLive Twitch account, so we can't do a proper raid. But we can say goodbye. We can say welcome back in 3.5 hours. And we can say that we recommend the Swede, Anna Kamling, for more chess entertainment. So until then, everyone, have a nice one.